My beloved child, you have been searching, striving, and exhausting yourself trying to answer the question, who am I? But listen, right now, because what I am about to speak will shatter the lies you've believed, lift the weight you've carried, and call you back to the truth that will set you free. This is not a message to save for later. This is the voice of the one who made you, reaching for you now. Do not turn away. Do not wait for another time. The moment of remembering who you truly are has come, and everything can change if you'll stay and hear me out. Before the noise, before the failure, before the striving, there was me and there was you. I shaped you with thought, with joy, with love. You were not created by accident. You were not formed as an afterthought. I wasn't in a rush. I didn't make a mistake. You came from my heart with intentionality, with design, and with purpose. I breathed life into you because I longed to walk with you, to know you, and to let you know me. I was never interested in what the world would try to make of you. I have always been focused on who I made you to be. But I know what's happened. I know how hard it's been to hold on to that truth because the world didn't affirm it. It gave you labels based on performance, appearance, possessions, titles, mistakes, and temporary moments. And you've worn those labels. Some you put on yourself, others were forced onto you. You've tried to earn love through achievement. You've tried to avoid pain by hiding. You've built identities out of rejection, fear, success, even failure. Anything to feel a little more certain, a little more secure. But every time those fragile layers cracked, you felt exposed again, unsure again, wondering again if you even know yourself at all. You've told yourself stories. Some of them sounded noble. If I can just accomplish more, I'll finally be proud of myself. If I can make them happy, I'll feel like I matter. If I can get it right this time, I'll finally be enough. But none of it has satisfied you. Because identity rooted in striving is never stable. It moves with circumstances. It collapses under criticism. It withers under pressure. That is not what I designed for you. You were not meant to live at the mercy of other people's approval or your own impossible standards. You were made to live from a place of deep, unshakable truth, a truth that begins and ends in me. So I say to you now, gently but firmly, it's time to return. Return to what is eternal. Return to what is unchanging. Return to the voice that knew you before anyone else formed an opinion of you. I don't need your resume. I don't need your image. I don't need your perfection. I need your heart, open to me again. I want you to see yourself through my eyes, because only then will you ever truly know who you are. You're not a disappointment. You're not too broken. You're not too late. You're not invisible. You're not behind. You're not too far gone. You're not beyond restoration. You're not defined by your mistakes, your trauma, your weakness, or your confusion. You are defined by the one who never stopped loving you through it all. I've been with you in every moment, even when you didn't recognize me. And now I am standing in front of you, asking you to let go of every counterfeit identity so I can give you back what was always yours. The truth. The truth is that you are mine, not as an idea, not as a metaphor, not as a concept. Mine in the truest, most intimate sense. I call you my child, not because you earned it, but because I created you. My love is not a reward. It's the origin of your being. It's the starting point of your identity. And once you accept this, not as a distant theological fact, but as a living, breathing reality, it changes everything. It sets you free from needing to be anyone else. It releases you from the prison of comparison. It delivers you from the pressure to constantly improve, to constantly produce, to constantly pretend. You can finally rest in me. This kind of identity, the one I offer, is not passive or abstract. It's powerful. It tells you where you belong, how you are loved, and why you matter. When you know who you are in me, your choices change, Your relationships shift, your purpose becomes clear. You stop needing to impress. You stop needing to hide. You start living from a place of peace, even when life isn't peaceful. You start loving without fear, even when you've been hurt. You begin to step into rooms differently, not arrogantly, but confidently, because you know finally deeply that you are not lost. You are not adrift. You are known. So let me say it again, not because I need to, but because you do. Your identity is found in me, not in your job, not in your relationship status, not in your past, not in your pain, not in your performance. In me. And in me you are fully known, fully loved, and fully secure. Nothing can take that from you. Nothing can change what I've declared over your life. The world may still try to define you by its terms, but my voice is louder, my truth is stronger, and my love is relentless. You are who I say you are, and I say you are mine. You've spent so much time trying to measure up, trying to earn what I already gave freely. The world taught you that identity must be proven through titles, beauty, success, control. It taught you that worth must be validated by others, and that unless you accomplish more, do more, become more, you'll never really be enough. And so you've hustled, you've pushed yourself to exhaustion, you've doubted your reflection in the mirror and second-guessed your choices. You felt that anxious urgency, like if you don't figure it all out soon, everything will fall apart. But that voice isn't from me. I do not speak to you with pressure or panic. I speak with peace, and my peace is the pathway back to who you truly are. You see, I never intended for you to live in constant performance. That's not freedom. It's bondage disguised as ambition. You were not created to run your identity like a race, chasing the approval of others, always one step behind who you think you should be. You were created to rest in the certainty of being loved, and real love does not keep score. Real love does not wait to embrace you until you've figured everything out. My love wraps around you right now, in this moment, exactly as you are, and speaks a better word than all the labels you've carried. Even the good things you've achieved, the dreams fulfilled, the goals reached, can never define you the way my love does. Because accomplishments will fade, circumstances will shift, but my love does not change, and neither does my vision of you. I don't hold up a list of your failures and decide who you are. I hold up my Son, and through him I call you whole, forgiven, chosen, free. You are not some broken puzzle waiting to be solved. You're not the sum of your struggles. You're a living reflection of my grace, and that grace has always been enough. But I know how tempting it is to keep chasing identity through comparison. You scroll through the lives of others, measuring your worth against highlight reels, filtering your pain, minimizing your progress, and every time you do, a little more of your joy slips away. That is not how I meant for you to live. I never asked you to be like anyone else. I formed you with your own voice, your own soul, your own story. And your story matters to me, not just the victories, but every chapter, even the ones you wish you could erase. I use all of it. Nothing in your life has been wasted. Not a tear, not a loss, not a moment. Everything surrendered to me becomes sacred. You don't have to be who they expected you to be. You don't have to carry the burden of being everything for everyone. You're not responsible for managing how others see you. That's exhausting, and I never asked it of you. I am not a taskmaster. I am your father. I do not assign you an identity based on your output. I call you my own because of who I am, and I do not change. My identity is secure, and in me, so is yours. Let me show you the truth again. Let me take you back to the beginning. Not the beginning of your pain, but the beginning of your design. I made you in my image. That means your identity is rooted in me, not in the opinions of others or the expectations of culture. You are not disposable. You are not replaceable. You are not merely surviving, you are here on purpose, with a purpose, wrapped in eternal love. When you begin to live from that place, when your spirit begins to rise into the reality that you are seen, known, and adored by me, everything shifts. You won't need to chase love because you'll realize it's already yours. You won't need to strive for peace because you'll find it in my presence. You won't need to search for meaning because you'll discover that your very existence speaks of it. And that's where identity becomes more than a concept. It becomes the ground you walk on, the lens you see through, the language your soul learns to speak. Not "I hope I'm enough," but "I am enough because I am His." There is so much healing in knowing who you truly are. When you stop fighting to earn your worth, space opens up for joy. When you stop pretending, you begin to rest. And when you rest in me, I restore everything you thought you lost while trying to be someone else. I restore your voice, your laughter, your innocence, your strength. I bring back the parts of you that got buried beneath disappointment and duty. This isn't about becoming someone new, it's about becoming someone true. So let me take the heavy labels off your soul. Let me strip away the roles you've performed but never really embraced. Let me silence the voices that told you you were too much or not enough, or somehow both. You don't have to carry those lies anymore. You don't have to live tangled in insecurity, always asking permission to be who I created you to be. You already have my permission. You have my blessing. You have my spirit breathing life into you. You don't need the world's approval when you have my affirmation. You don't need to prove yourself when I've already proclaimed you mine. You don't need to find your worth because your worth found you. It found you in the dark. It found you when you weren't looking, and now it's calling you into the light. Come, beloved, it's time to remember who you are. You have spent so long trying to undo what others have spoken over you. Words meant to define you became wounds that shaped your thoughts. You tried to shrug them off, laugh them away, ignore them, but they dug deep. Someone once told you that you were too sensitive, and you began to question your emotional depth. Another told you that you were not smart enough, and suddenly your dreams felt too big. Others told you what you should be, and you lost touch with the voice that once knew what you were called to become. These words were never yours to carry, and today I am lifting them off your shoulders. There is only one voice that has the authority to name you, and it is mine. When I spoke light into darkness, when I breathed stars into being, when I carved the oceans into the earth, I also spoke over you. My words do not wound, they awaken. I called you loved before you ever reached for me. I called you chosen before you stepped into your purpose. I called you worthy while you still doubted if you belonged. I called you mine when you were still trying to earn your place. My voice doesn't echo the world's demands. It sings over you with truth that transcends time, and that truth is your home. I know what it feels like to live beneath the weight of labels, the ones that others gave you, the ones you gave yourself, the ones culture pushed onto your shoulders with every message about who you should be, how you should act, what success should look like, how love should appear. You've been told that your value depends on how much you accomplish, how attractive you are, how well you keep it together. But I tell you this with the full force of my love, none of that ever determined your worth. Your identity was never meant to be performance-based. It was meant to be presence-based. My presence with you, in you, through you. You're not broken beyond repair. I know there are moments when you look in the mirror and wonder if what you see is lovable. I know how the voice of shame comes quickly, whispering that if people knew the whole story, they'd turn away. But I don't turn away. I turn toward. I move in close. I don't need you to hide what you think disqualifies you. Bring it to me. Your vulnerability does not make you unworthy. It makes you reachable. The places you try to keep sealed off are the places I long to touch with healing. Shame is not your name. Insecurity is not your home. Anxiety is not your label. You were not created to walk through life constantly questioning your value. That's why the ache persists. Because your soul was never meant to live in conflict with the truth of how I see you. And I see you with eyes that are not distorted by fear, not limited by time, not influenced by culture. I see you in the fullness of who I created you to be, and I'm committed to leading you back there, no matter how long it takes, no matter how lost you feel. Let me tell you who you are, not who you think you should be, not who others tried to make you, not who the world rewards. You are my beloved child, created with purpose, held in grace, marked with divine intention. You're not an accident. You're not behind. You're not a disappointment. You're not disqualified. Every breath you take is evidence that I still have plans for you. Every heartbeat is a reminder that I haven't given up on the masterpiece I began in you. And yes, there will be days when the old voices try to return. There will be moments when fear tries to reclaim its space in your mind. But you are not defenseless. I have given you my spirit, my truth, my presence. I have clothed you in an identity that cannot be undone by insecurity. When the lies come, speak my truth over yourself. When the darkness closes in, remember the light I've placed inside you. You are not fragile. You are not powerless. You carry within you the identity of a child of God, and nothing can separate you from that truth. I'm not asking you to pretend. I'm not inviting you into performance. I'm calling you into wholeness. And wholeness is not perfection. It is alignment with truth. It is living in step with who I say you are, even when it contradicts what the world says. It is choosing to believe me, even when your feelings lag behind. And in that choice, every day, a little more healing happens. A little more confidence rises. A little more of the real you emerges. Not created from scratch, but uncovered, reclaimed, restored. You're not becoming someone new. You're becoming someone true. This is your identity. Deeply loved, eternally secure, divinely purposed. Not one day in the future, but right now. And the more you believe it, the more you will live like it. The more you will speak like it, the more you will love like it. This is not a vague inspiration, it's a foundational truth. A truth strong enough to rebuild a life, to restore a soul, to renew your sense of self. Let the transformation begin, not with striving, but with surrender. You don't have to force it. Just let me love you. Just let me speak. Just let me remind you again and again until the truth becomes louder than the lies. You are mine. You've learned to hide parts of yourself, pieces you thought were too complicated, too wounded, too messy to bring into the light. You buried them deep, thinking it was safer to be silent, to stay small, to only show the polished version of yourself. But I see it all. I see what you tried to hide, and I do not flinch. I don't turn away. I draw near because I never loved the illusion of you. I've always loved the real you, the one behind the masks, beneath the filters, underneath the striving. I see you fully and I call you good. You've been taught that some emotions are unacceptable, that strength means not feeling too much, not breaking down, not needing help. But I never created you to be numb. I created you with a heart that feels deeply, with a soul that was meant to engage with life, not just survive it. Your sensitivity is not a flaw, it's a gift. Your questions are not a problem, they're a sign of intimacy. Your need is not an embarrassment, it is a doorway to encounter me more deeply. I am not disappointed by your emotions, I made them. I designed every part of you for connection with me. So bring me your confusion, bring me your ache, bring me the moments when you don't feel spiritual, when you feel far from faithful. I'm not moved by religious appearances, I'm moved by real hearts. You don't need to perform for me, You don't need to clean yourself up before entering my presence. You are already in it. I am with you in the mundane, in the anger, in the sorrow, in the questions. My voice doesn't fade when you falter. I stay. I listen. I speak truth over your silence until your spirit remembers that it is not alone. You are not defined by your lowest moment, nor are you defined by your highest success. Your identity is not based on emotional highs or spiritual achievements. It is anchored in something unchanging, my nature. And my nature is love. My posture toward you is consistent, gentle, and faithful. You are not one mistake away from losing my affection. You are not one doubt away from falling out of my plan. I knew every chapter of your story before you lived it, and I chose you still. My love is not reckless, but it is relentless, and it is rewriting every name you've given yourself that didn't come from me. You are not a burden. You are not too complex. You are not hard to love. You've believed those things because pain has a way of distorting your reflection, but I'm lifting that distortion now. I'm cleansing the lens through which you see yourself. I'm showing you what I've seen all along. Beauty in the becoming, strength in the struggle, holiness in the healing. You are not too far behind. You are not a failure in progress. You are a masterpiece in motion, and I'm not in a hurry with you. I'm present, fully engaged, fully committed. Let go of the pressure to always be okay. I am not honored by your perfectionism. I am honored by your presence. When you show up in honesty, when you bring me the raw, unedited version of your thoughts, that is when the real transformation begins. That is when shame loses its grip. That is when my truth can finally sink in and take root. I don't need polished prayers. I don't need curated vulnerability. I need your heart, open, willing, even if it's trembling. There's a deeper identity waiting for you, one that is not based on being understood by others, but on being fully known by me. When you live from this place, the opinions of others begin to lose their weight. The approval you once craved becomes less necessary. The fears that used to drive your decisions begin to quiet, because in my presence you discover that peace isn't the absence of conflict, it's the presence of truth. And the truth is, you're not defined by reaction, but by revelation. The world reacts to your image, I respond to your essence. And your essence is wrapped in me. This identity in me is your inheritance, not a reward. It's the gift I gave you before you could ever earn or deserve it. You were made to walk with me in freedom, not fear, in truth, not tension, in love, not performance. And as that identity becomes your foundation, your life will begin to shift. Not because you're forcing it to, but because wholeness cannot help but bear fruit. Your relationships will deepen, your clarity will sharpen, your rest will multiply. Because living in alignment with me is where your soul finds its rhythm again. I want you to understand that this process, this unveiling of who you really are, is not a linear journey. There will be moments when old lies try to reassert themselves. There will be days when fear speaks louder than truth. But even then, I'm not disillusioned with you. I remain faithful, and I will keep reminding you as many times as it takes that you are more than your emotions, more than your story, more than your doubt. You are mine, and that is more than enough. So breathe, drop the mask, let the striving stop. You are not in danger of being forgotten. You are not in danger of being unloved. Your identity is not slipping away. It is being revealed day by day, word by word, moment by moment, as you rest in me. I want you to think about how often you've defined yourself by seasons that were only meant to shape you, not label you. You called yourself lost because you wandered for a while. You called yourself a failure because something didn't work out the way you hoped. You called yourself broken because of the pain you carried. But none of these names came from me. I never defined you by your darkest day or your most confused hour. I never pointed to your wounds and said, "This is who you are." Instead, I called you healed, chosen, long before you could see it yourself. I am not waiting for you to get everything right before I speak your identity over you. I've already spoken it, and I'm waiting for you to believe it. So much of the confusion in your life comes from trying to reconcile two voices. The one that tells you who you should be to be accepted, and mine, the one that already accepts you and calls you to become who you were always meant to be. One demands that you earn love, the other reminds you that you already have it. One keeps you locked in cycles of comparison, anxiety, and proving. The other calls you into rest, purpose, and freedom. You have the ability to choose which voice will define your life, and I want you to choose mine, not because I demand it, but because I know what's best for your heart. You were never meant to be the product of your performance. The world keeps moving the goalposts of what it means to be successful, to be valuable, to be enough. But I don't measure you that way. I measure you by my love, and the scale never shifts. You are valuable because I made you. You are enough because I said so. And that doesn't change when you stumble, when you feel empty, when you don't have all the answers. You can rest in the truth that your worth is not up for debate. I settled it on the day I formed you. You've been walking through life carrying questions. Who am I, really? What is my purpose? Why do I feel like I'm not quite fitting anywhere? Those questions matter. They aren't a sign of failure. They're a sign of awakening. They're your spirit's cry to come back to your origin, to come back to me. Because the answer to who am I is not found in what you do or what you've lost. It is found in whose you are. And you are mine, not temporarily, not conditionally, not on a probationary basis, eternally mine. And when you begin to live from that place, when your soul starts resting in the identity I've given you, everything else finds its order. Your decisions gain clarity, your relationships become more grounded, your vision becomes sharper. You stop chasing roles that were never yours to carry. You stop accepting identities handed to you out of fear or survival. You stop performing. You start living fully, authentically, boldly. Not with arrogance, but with the peace that comes from knowing you're standing on unshakable ground. Let me walk you back through some of the lies you've believed. The lie that you have to be perfect to be loved. The lie that you are too much or not enough. The lie that you have to constantly fix yourself to be worthy of connection. These lies did not begin with me, and they cannot stand in my presence. I break them now, not just in your mind, but in your spirit. I don't just want to correct your thoughts. I want to restore your identity. Not patch it together, but return it to its original form. You don't need to fabricate a version of yourself to be accepted by me. I want you as you are. And when you bring me the real you, the hurting, questioning, longing you, I begin to show you the strength that's already inside. I remind you that identity isn't something you achieve. It's something you receive. A gift, not a goal. A truth, not a test. When you realize that, your soul exhales. You no longer live to earn love. You live because you are loved. You no longer shape your life around avoiding rejection. You shape it around expressing the truth of who you are in me. This freedom is yours, and it is not fragile. It is not dependent on how people treat you. It is not shaken by criticism. It is not lost when you have a bad day. It is rooted in a truth that was spoken before time began and will echo through eternity. You are mine. And when the enemy tries to challenge that truth through fear, shame, doubt, or distraction, remember that I have the final word. And my word over your life is identity, dignity, destiny, beloved. You will still have moments of uncertainty. You will still have days when the old voices try to get loud. But each time, I will be here, speaking, whispering, reminding. And the more you listen, the more that voice will become your own. You'll begin to speak my truth over yourself. You'll begin to affirm what I've always seen. You'll start walking not just with hope, but with authority. Because the truest thing about you isn't what happened to you. It isn't what they said. It isn't what you achieved or failed at. The truest thing about you is what I have spoken. And I say you are loved, you are seen, you are wanted, you are mine. You are beginning to understand something that many spend their whole lives chasing, that who you are is not a moving target. It doesn't fluctuate with your feelings or with how others respond to you. Your identity is not a mystery to be solved, but a truth to be embraced. It is not hidden in the future, or locked inside your accomplishments, or waiting to be unlocked by someone else's approval. It is here. It is now. It is already complete in me. And as you begin to believe this, not just intellectually, but deeply in your spirit, it will become the lens through which you view everything. I want to speak now into the parts of you that still feel unsure, the younger version of you that tried so hard to be accepted and ended up feeling invisible. The tired part of you that keeps serving and sacrificing, hoping someone will finally notice. The successful version of you who still feels strangely hollow after each milestone. The version of you who is afraid that if you stop striving, you'll be forgotten. Let me meet each one of those versions with the truth. I see you, I love you, and I'm not asking for your perfection. I'm asking for your presence. Come as you are, not as you think you should be. Let me show you who you really are through my eyes. You've been told that identity is something you create, that you must build it, brand it, defend it, and constantly upgrade it. But identity isn't a project, it's a promise. And that promise was spoken over you before you had language to name your fears. I called you mine. I called you worthy. I called you enough. You don't need to fight for those names. You only need to stop fighting against them. Let them land. Let them settle into the parts of your soul that have forgotten what peace feels like. You see, when you know who you are in me, you no longer need to posture. You no longer need to prove. You no longer need to perform. Instead, you begin to walk with quiet strength, a confidence that does not draw attention to itself but commands peace in the storm. When you stop trying to become someone for the world, you become available for what I want to do through you. And what I have planned for you requires the true you, not the projected version, not the protected version, but the real one, the one who's learning to trust again, to love again, to believe again. And belief, true belief, begins not with certainty, but with surrender. It begins when you say, God, if this is who you say I am, then I'll choose to live like it, even when I don't feel it yet. That choice opens the door for me to flood you with affirmation that no external source can give. I speak not just to your surface, but to your spirit. I remind you that your name is not fear. Your name is not failure. Your name is not forgotten. Your name is beloved, called, whole, restored. The world will keep trying to tell you otherwise. It will try to reduce you to labels. It will push you to hustle harder, to appear shinier, to conform faster. But I invite you to resist that pull, not in rebellion, but in rootedness. You're not called to blend in. You're not called to chase culture. You're called to reflect my image. And my image in you is not just a concept. It's a reality, full of clarity, purpose, and sacred uniqueness. You are not meant to mimic someone else's story. You are meant to live your own, authored by me. You'll begin to feel it in how you speak, how you carry yourself, how you show up, even when no one is watching. You'll feel less need to over-explain, to apologize for your presence, to hide your light just to keep others comfortable. That's not pride, that's truth. And the truth of your identity is this: I made you to shine, not for your glory, but for mine. The more you walk in who you are in me, the more others will be drawn not just to you, but to me through you. Let me also say this. Transformation doesn't mean you won't feel the pull of insecurity sometimes. Even Jesus was questioned about who he was. Even he had moments of testing. So don't be surprised when the voice of doubt comes knocking. But unlike before, now you'll have an answer. Now you'll have a name that is rooted not in emotion, but in eternity. When the lie says you're alone, you'll remember that I dwell within you. When the fear says you don't belong, you'll remember that I placed you where you are. When the shame says you're not enough, you'll remember that I said you are. And that settles it. You've tried living from many sources before, from validation, from ambition, from insecurity, from survival, but none of them offered the peace you hoped for. Now I am leading you into something better, a way of living not based on reaction, but on revelation. You don't need to be the strongest voice in the room when you carry the authority of truth in your spirit. You don't need to chase opportunities when your steps are ordered. You don't need to carry the weight of your own story when I am the one holding it all together. So let this be the day you stop apologizing for existing. Let this be the day you stop questioning whether you belong. You do. Let this be the day you decide to stop looking for yourself in places I never sent you. You are not hidden. You are not forgotten. You are not incomplete. You are found in me. You may have wondered, if I am truly yours, if my identity is found in you, then why do I still feel so uncertain? Why do I wrestle with the same insecurities, the same doubts, the same shadows that have followed me for years? I want to answer you with tenderness and truth. Transformation is not about pretending those shadows don't exist. It's about learning to walk in light even while they linger. It's about choosing truth when the lies still whisper. And identity, real identity, is not discovered once and then sealed away like a trophy. It is lived, grown into, wrestled with, and reaffirmed over and over as you keep walking with me. You were not designed to carry a static image of yourself, locked into place by one event or failure or success. You were created to move with me, to grow into deeper clarity with every season. And some of those seasons will challenge you. They will shake your assumptions about who you are and what you can handle. But hear me, those seasons are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to reveal the truth I've placed in you that even you don't yet see. The strength that only emerges under pressure. The grace that flows in your lowest moments. The identity that holds steady when everything else shifts. I don't need you to pretend you're unshakable. I need you to be honest, because in honesty I can work. When you tell me you're scared, I can comfort you. When you admit you're unsure, I can anchor you. When you say, I don't feel like enough, I can remind you that my strength is made perfect in that very place. You see, I'm not looking for a perfect image. I'm looking for a willing heart, one that says, even if I don't see it yet, I'll trust what you've spoken. That's faith. That's identity in action. You've defined yourself for so long by your flaws. You see your quick temper, your anxious thoughts, your hesitant heart, and you assume those things disqualify you. But what if I told you that I never saw those flaws as final? What if I told you that your weakness isn't the end of your story, but the invitation for my spirit to show up with more power? I don't shame you for your battles. I step into them with you. I don't roll my eyes at your doubts. I draw near in them. Your transformation isn't measured by how quickly you conquer your struggles. It's measured by your willingness to let me meet you in them. You may still feel tempted to hide, especially when you step into new things, when you're asked to lead, to love, to speak, to stand firm. That's where the old voices return, isn't it? The ones that say, who do you think you are? But this time you'll have an answer. I am His. That one truth, spoken not just from your lips, but from your spirit, is powerful. It silences fear. It steadies the heart. It reminds you that you do not walk alone. You walk as one marked by grace. And others will see it. They may not understand it, but they will sense it. That unshakable identity is not loud. It is peaceful. It is the quiet kind of authority that doesn't demand a stage to be effective. It's how you carry yourself in private, how you respond in crisis, how you remain kind in the face of offense. It's the way you choose humility when you could prove yourself, the way you choose to forgive when bitterness would feel easier. That's identity being lived, not just believed. You're not merely reflecting me when you succeed. You're reflecting me when you stand back up, when you return to me again and again after falling, when you choose to believe you're loved even when you feel unlovable. That's where your identity takes root, in the day-to-day decisions to let truth lead instead of emotion. And it's in those moments that heaven rejoices, not because you're flawless, but because you're faithful. You're becoming who I always knew you were. And remember, I'm not just the God of beginnings. I am the God of becoming. I'm walking with you through the middle, through the messy parts, through the days when you feel stuck or weary. I'm not pacing above you, waiting for you to catch up. I'm right beside you. I'm in the healing conversation you finally had. I'm in the tears you let fall when no one else saw. I'm in the decision to rest instead of hustle. I'm in every moment where you choose connection over isolation, truth over self-protection, presence over pretending. That is where identity becomes unshakable, because it is practiced in the quiet places long before it's noticed in the loud ones. So do not despise your process. Do not rush past the tension. Let it shape you. Let it refine the way you see yourself. Let it remind you that every uncomfortable stretch is expanding your capacity to carry the truth of who you are in me. You're not going backward. You're not circling the same mountain again. You're growing, slowly, deeply, truly. And every step forward is a declaration to the world, to the enemy, to your own doubt. I know who I am because I know whose I am. You're not trying to become valuable. You're learning to live from the value that was already placed on you by the one who formed you. That is the gift. That is the promise. That is your identity. Now that you've begun to see the truth of who you are in me, I want to teach you how to walk in that truth. Not just when you feel strong and sure, but when the winds shift and the pressure builds. Identity is not just a gift, it is a way of life. It is not a badge you wear. It's a foundation you build upon. And every day, you have the opportunity to walk in alignment with what I've declared about you. Not as a performance, but as a response. Not to earn my favor, but because you already live in it. You've learned what it's like to move through life reactive, constantly adjusting yourself to meet expectations, to manage impressions, to stay safe. But now I'm teaching you how to live proactive, anchored in truth, rooted in me, unmoved by the currents of circumstance or opinion. When your identity is secure, you are not easily shaken. That doesn't mean you won't feel fear or frustration, but it does mean you won't be defined by it. You will experience life fully, but with a spirit that remains steady because it knows the source. This is the shift I'm bringing you into. From self-protection to spirit-led living, from striving to rest, from insecurity to authority. You will begin to notice how your posture changes, how you walk into rooms, how you carry conversations, how you interact with others. Not from a place of needing to prove something, but from the peace of knowing you are already established. You don't need to dominate, but neither do you need to shrink. You will learn how to take up the exact space I've given you, no more, no less. With humility, with grace, with power. There will still be moments when you are misunderstood, when others try to pull you back into old versions of yourself, when you're tempted to dim your light so others won't feel uncomfortable. But this time, you'll recognize the invitation for what it is. Not a call to perform, but a call to remain. Remain in me. Remain in truth. Remain in love. That's where your identity holds firm. You don't need to correct every false perception. Your life will speak for itself. Truth doesn't shout, it stands. I want to remind you that your identity is not just for your own peace, it's for the world's transformation. Because when you live as one who knows who they are, others will notice. They'll come close, curious. They'll ask, even without words, where did that clarity come from? How do you remain so grounded? And you will have the chance not to boast, but to testify. You will speak not from theory, but from experience. You'll point not to your effort, but to my grace. You'll become a living example of what it looks like to be deeply known, deeply loved, deeply free. And that freedom will ripple outward. Your relationships will shift. You will no longer attract people based on who you're pretending to be. You'll attract those who can love you as you truly are. You'll begin to release the need to be needed and embrace the gift of being real. You won't carry the burden of managing others' perceptions because your energy will be rooted in authenticity, not anxiety. And from that place, your love will be purer, your impact deeper, your joy fuller. Your identity also carries authority, not control, not manipulation, but kingdom authority. The kind that breaks cycles, lifts burdens, restores dignity. When you walk in who I've made you to be, you carry my name. That means when you speak truth, it cuts through confusion. When you pray, things shift. When you show up in love, walls come down. This isn't about becoming powerful for the sake of influence. It's about becoming secure so that I can trust you to steward the influence I give you. I'm preparing you for greater things, and that preparation begins with the quiet conviction. I know who I am in Christ. But this journey also requires vigilance, not fear-based, but truth-anchored. Because the world will still offer new labels. It will still tempt you to build your life around external achievements, roles, or relationships. And in those moments, you will need to pause and return to me. Identity is a daily returning, a moment-by-moment alignment. You'll begin to feel when something is off, not because of guilt, but because peace will lift. And that lifting will be a signal. Come back to who I say you are, come back to the center. Come back to the voice that doesn't change. Let me also say this clearly. Identity is not isolation. You were never meant to walk this journey alone. I created you for connection, and part of walking in your identity is surrounding yourself with others who speak life, not competition, who call out the gold in you, not the flaws, who remind you of truth when you forget. Don't be afraid to seek those relationships. They are part of your growth, and in turn, you will be that voice for others too. This is how I move through individuals who are secure in me, not because they never waver, but because they know where to return. Not because they are the strongest, but because they rely on my strength. You're becoming that person. You're walking into the fullness of who I created you to be. Not rushed, not incomplete, but completely, profoundly, beautifully mine. So keep walking, keep becoming, keep choosing the truth that you are not a reflection of your circumstances, but of your Creator. And I, your Creator, your Redeemer, your constant companion, call you beloved. That will never change. Let me draw you back gently into the center of everything I've been whispering to your heart. You are mine, not in a fleeting or fragile way, but in a covenant that cannot be broken. You are not just known, you're chosen. You're not simply accepted, you are cherished. Every part of your identity flows from this truth. You don't need to search endlessly for meaning or spend your life building something to prove you matter. Your life already carries eternal significance because I breathe through you. Your worth was not a result of your success. It was the foundation of your very existence. There is a reason the world fought so hard to confuse you about who you are. There is power in a person who knows they are loved without condition, valued without performance, seen without needing to impress. That kind of person cannot be manipulated by fear. That kind of person cannot be reduced by comparison. That kind of person cannot be silenced by shame. The enemy wanted to fracture your identity because your wholeness is dangerous to the darkness. But now here, standing in the revelation of who I say you are, you're rising, and nothing can undo the truth that is taking root in you. You may still feel like you're in process. You may still be wrestling with old mindsets, still stepping carefully around old patterns. That's okay. I never demanded perfection, only proximity. And the more you stay close to me, the more the truth of your identity will become your new instinct. You'll begin to recognize the lies faster. You'll catch the drift into insecurity sooner. You'll sense the weight of shame trying to return, and you'll rise up, not in panic, but in peace. You'll know, this doesn't belong to me anymore. And just like that, the transformation will deepen. There is nothing about your story that disqualifies you from this. In fact, your story is the very thing I'm redeeming so it can become a testament to others who are still lost in the fog of false identities. You don't have to hide what you've been through. I'll use it all. I'll take every broken piece, every forgotten part, every page you wish you could rip out, and I will craft something holy from it. Not as a monument to your pain, but as a beacon of my love. You are not merely a survivor. You are a vessel of restoration. You've always had a sense that there was more, that the version of life you were living didn't quite match the pull in your spirit. That sense was me, calling you to remember, to come back, to shed what the world tried to wrap around you, and return to the garment I wove for you from the beginning. Identity rooted in grace, wrapped in love, bound by peace. You don't have to earn your way into this. You only have to accept it. And when you do, the way forward begins to open. Your decisions start to look different. You no longer choose based on fear of rejection or desire for approval. You start making choices rooted in truth. Does this reflect who I am in God? Does this align with the voice of the one who formed me? That shift changes everything. Not just your actions, but your atmosphere. Peace becomes your compass. Discernment becomes your language. Courage becomes your rhythm. You are no longer reacting to life. You are walking in step with me. You've tried to fix yourself in so many ways, through self-help, through discipline, through pushing down the questions and pretending to be okay. But what I'm offering is not another layer of self-repair. It's surrender. It's the laying down of everything you thought you had to be, so I can raise you into everything I created you to be. You were not made to carry your own transformation alone. I am the one who begins the good work, and I am the one who is faithful to complete it. Trust me with the timing. Trust me with the outcome. Trust me with the unfolding. You don't need to understand it all at once. Identity is not a test you pass. It is a home you return to again and again. And every time you return, you find that I have not moved. I am still here, still calling you by name, still speaking life into the places that once only knew silence. You will never exhaust my love. You will never outgrow my grace. You will never come to the end of my goodness. Because your identity is not just a fact, it's a relationship, and I am the constant within it. So breathe deeply again. Stand tall, not in pride but in peace. Speak slowly, not from fear, but from truth. Move gently, not because you are unsure, but because you are grounded. This is the fruit of identity found in me. It's not loud, but it is powerful. It's not flashy, but it is unshakable. And you, beloved, are walking in it now. Now, step fully into the truth that has been rising in you with every word spoken, with every whisper you've let sink beneath the surface of your thoughts. This is not just the closing of a chapter, it is the claiming of your name. You are mine. You are whole. You are chosen. You are seen. This is your true identity. It is not temporary. It is not dependent on your behavior or your feelings. It is not a fleeting affirmation. It is a divine declaration written before time and sealed by my spirit, and it is unbreakable. You have been walking toward this moment, often without realizing it. Every search for worth, every cry in the dark, every ache to be understood, those were not failures. They were the sacred signals of a heart that was always meant to be filled by something greater. And now, here in my presence, you realize you are no longer lost. You are never truly abandoned. You are never unworthy. You were being called and you answered, even if your answer came through a whisper, a tear, a silent surrender. Heaven heard it. I heard it. And I've been responding with truth ever since. The false names are falling off you now. The labels that told you you were behind, broken, inadequate, they have no authority here. They cannot stand in the light of my love. I've removed the garments of shame and dressed you in dignity. I've taken the old identities born from pain and replaced them with a crown of purpose. You are royalty, not because you have conquered all things, but because I have called you my own. You walk not as one who's trying to earn acceptance, but as one who knows they already belong. And now, with this identity alive in you, your life begins to reflect something more. It carries weight, not the weight of pressure, but of presence. Your words begin to heal, not harm. Your silence begins to carry wisdom, not fear. Your steps become intentional. Your decisions more peaceful, not because you figured it all out, but because you return to the source. You're no longer navigating life alone, chasing clarity in the dark. You're walking with me, and where I go, you follow, not anxiously, but faithfully. Let me remind you, I will never leave you. Your identity doesn't vanish in hard seasons. It doesn't disappear when you struggle. It doesn't need to be earned again after a setback. What I give, I do not take back. I knew every part of you when I chose you, your weaknesses, your patterns, your history, and I still said yes. That means your mistakes can't unwritten my plans. Your doubts can't remove my love. Your mess can't cancel my promise. I am not moved by the storms. I still speak to them, and I say, peace, be still. That same peace I speak over your heart. So let this be your new rhythm. When the world tries to rename you, return to me. When fear rises, run to me. When shame whispers, sit with me. I will always remind you who you are. And the more you live in that space, the more you'll find yourself stepping out with clarity, with boldness, with joy. You won't feel the need to shout your worth. You'll simply live it. And your very presence will begin to invite others to remember who they are too. You become a mirror of my mercy, a carrier of my kindness, a reflection of the identity I've given you. This identity is not just your foundation, it is your future. Everything I will build through you begins here. Ministry, relationships, creativity, healing, influence, none of it comes from striving. It flows from being rooted. Rooted in me. When your heart is secure, your life becomes fruitful. Not hurried, not frantic, but rich, steady, overflowing. That's what I have for you. Not just survival, but abundance. Not just activity, but meaning. Not just existence, but impact. And so I leave you with this. Remain. Not in fear, not in performance. Remain in love. Remain in me. Let your identity be the soil in which every dream grows, every decision blooms, every moment finds its purpose. You are no longer searching. You have found your home. You have found your name, and that name is written in my hands. You are mine forever. Amen. Now share this message, not for praise, but for purpose. Someone else is still searching for who they are. Let your transformation be their invitation. Let your identity speak truth into someone else's silence. Be the reminder they've been praying for. You are not just called, you are sent. Go in love, go in peace, go in me. You are not just called, you are sent. Go in love, go in peace, go in me. Remember, you are no longer searching for your identity in places that can never define you. You are no longer a wanderer without a home. Your belonging is not fragile. Your worth is not conditional. Every part of your story, every ache, every question, every chapter has found its place in my greater story for you. Live from this place of belonging. Walk in this truth. Let it saturate your thoughts and shape your choices. Let it free you from striving and ground you in grace. Let the world see what wholeness looks like. Not perfection, but presence. Not certainty, but surrender. Let your light rise from the security of knowing you are loved beyond measure, chosen beyond explanation, and held beyond comprehension. When you stumble, remember whose hand lifts you. When you doubt, return to the voice that first called you mine. When you feel alone, know that I am closer than your next breath. Carry this truth to others. Let it overflow in kindness, patience, and mercy. Be the invitation to wholeness that the world so desperately needs. For every step you take in true identity, you create space for others to do the same. This is the ripple effect of a life lived in alignment with love. My beloved, what you've heard today is not the end, it is the beginning. I am still speaking, I am still calling, I am still unfolding the truth of who you are, one breath at a time. This was not just a message to encourage you for a moment. It is an invitation to walk with me daily, to return again and again, to keep listening as I remind you who you are in my eyes. So do not stop here. Return. Come back to this place where my voice meets your heart. Each time you do, I will pour out more truth, more peace, more clarity. Subscribe, follow, stay connected. Not for the sake of content, but for the sake of communion. Together, let's keep building a rhythm of returning, because I am not done transforming you, and the next word may be the one that breaks through in a way you've longed for. Let your next visit be the next step in becoming who I created you to be. Amen.